to lead your best life? Well, anything requires preparation, right, for what we want. So the first thing is you need to recognize what you need. And notice I didn't use the word want. I put the word need. Deep, deep down, there is a need that you have, a purpose that you want to bring to your life. To do that, you have to be in a quiet, peaceful place, not from a place of fear or unrest. You use your five senses, and I want you to actually feel the change. So what I mean by that is when you envision your purpose in life, what you want to do, be, feel, we want to shift that into a physical feeling state that if this happened in your life, if you found the perfect partner, if you got the perfect job, if you built the perfect home, how are you going to feel differently? In your body, in your being, if you win the lottery, what's going to really change for you other than the obvious things outside of you? Inside, what's going to shift? When you create your plan, when you're building your best life, I do believe you need that toolbox. You need to know that if work stresses you out, this is the tool you need to undo that stress and get back to a more peaceful state of mind. Whether that's enjoying and cooking a good meal for yourself, your toolbox includes all of your self-care techniques. And if you don't have many of those, consider building that part of the toolbox up more. And it can be things you are already doing. And I'll give you an example. I recognize that I am under too much stress when I don't play music. And that could be in the car, it could be while I'm cooking. When music leaves my life, I know that something is a little bit out of balance because I find music to really nourish and feed my soul. I listen to music right before my talks that I give. The fourth thing I noticed to live your best life is to maintain your focus. You have to keep the goal out there. And Susie, how do you do that? Well, there's a multitude of techniques to do that. You can create a vision board, have the vision board placed in a space that you're always going to see it. Mine is in my walk-in closet. I look at it every morning. You can put Post-its on mirrors in your bathroom. You can put beautiful flowers by the side of your bed that remind you of your objectives, of your needs, your purpose, your goals. Those are small ways to maintain your focus, but it has to be revisited every single day in some form or another, when you wake, as you go to sleep. The final thing, possibly the more difficult thing for some of us, is the letting go of how this change is going to come to you. Once you set your image, your version of your best life, when you define your purpose in great detail, we only know, our frame of reference is all we know, right? We only know what we know from what we've already experienced. So we have to go into a place of, we have no idea how this is going to happen. And of course, yet again, I have another thought for you. So Greenhouse Wisdom is my personal passion project, my desire to work with people towards their goals, for them to feel fulfilled in their lives. That's vital for me. I made a decision to leave a lucrative job in 2018 and go for it, create Greenhouse Wisdom. Within 2 weeks of me giving notice, and I did give a long notice because I had an important position, I received offers to give talks to palliative care nurses and physicians. And then I also received the opportunity to travel with a teacher who needed support, and I was their backup person. So things came out of the woodwork. I couldn't have imagined this would have happened in my life. But because I cracked open that window and said, I'm going for it, this is my purpose. I wrote about the kind of business that I would have. I was offered a space in the office that you're seeing behind me, and I took advantage of it. So going to a place of what yogis refer to as the unknown, the Buddhist belief of we really don't know what's around the corner. That is a very hard place for me to be in, and it's a place that takes practice. But I suspect all of you will pick a thing or two in your life that ended up happening with great ease that you couldn't have even imagined it happening the way that it did.
Hey, Susie, real
Yes.
quick question.
Yes.
That's related to this, like these points. How do you deal with doubt, right? Like, when you say use your five senses to feel the change, or like maintaining your focus, or even recognizing what you need, what happens if you're and being in that place of the unknown, right? What happens when you're unsure or uncertain about what you're doing then and there, or even if you're doing the right thing?
If you are that uncertain, that is a great flag. It's just a tickler that you need to stop in the moment and reinvestigate and drill it down. And that's something that I have a couple of different techniques. So one is free flow journaling. I think you just wake up in the middle of the night, or you have this sense of doubt or this feeling that something's not quite right, you free flow journal. And you start with, I'm feeling in my body, this doubt is hovering in my gut, or maybe it's in the back of my neck. How does your body feel when you embrace that sense of doubt? And you free flow journal it. And then you sort of sit with the doubt. And here's the reason you need the meditation piece, the reception, the receiving piece, not the intention where you're speaking, right? You're going for it, but you're sitting back and saying, well, sometimes doubt and extreme reactions to things comes from the conditioning that has been given to you through your life. So you're like an onion, and you're going to have to peel off those layers to discover that, wow, I actually have this doubt because way back when I was 10 years old, XYZ happened. And that's when the doubt started. So, and sometimes you need some help discovering when something started occurring. It's just fascinating when you start to think about, well, I'm doubtful because of this belief. Well, who gave me this belief? Did I take this on? Was it from an experience? Was it something, I call them tape recordings, those things that were spoken to us over and over again by teachers, educators, or by a parent, a loved one, someone we trusted might have said or done or indicated something that A, maybe they didn't explain well enough, but B, it was their belief that they were pushing onto us. And then that's where doubt and fear have come up. Does that help, Ebenezer, a little bit? That doubt is informative. It's telling you something, and you have to ferret out. Is this really doubt? Is this not where I'm really supposed to be? Or is it because someone said that I shouldn't be feeling this or doing something? And that takes work. That's not necessarily easy to figure out. And you have to be in that quieter, peaceful place, not in the grips of anxiety and fear when that happens.
Okay. Yeah, that helps a lot.
Okay.
And I'm also a little bit curious because I'm a person who really likes when things are kind of laid out clearly. Like if there's a plan or whatnot I can follow, that's amazing, because then it alleviates stress. But I'm wondering, striking that balance between setting an intention and then being in that receptive place. How do you do that? Or how did you come to find that for yourself? Is there like template or recommendation that you'd be willing to give out?
The researcher in you. I have to fully admit I was a biologist way back when, and I've worked in labs. I've been around research and science, and I wish I could give you a template, but remember that wonderful fingerprint we all have. I will say one technique I've used is to think back in your childhood from age 0 to 5. What was attractive to you? What did you gravitate towards during those early years, maybe even up to age 7? A certain stuffed animal, a certain experience. You loved to play on the swings when you were young. Think of the certain things. So I'll give you an example. For me is I always wanted to play. I was an only child, so I was alone, probably more than many other kids, but I really enjoyed being alone. I didn't mind not having constant interaction with people, and I would go in my room for hours and play by myself and take care of my stuffed animals. I didn't have tea parties, and I didn't gravitate towards Barbies either, but just noticing the things as a child that sparked your interest, that you really enjoyed doing. That's one technique. The other technique is, sorry, I had a couple of things to say about that. One sec. So the template is to write about, to visualize, to feel, and delve into, when I say to feel, to create the scenario of the way that you want to feel, and then embrace those sensations physically in your body. I suspect all of us have had a time, I'd like to believe this, in your life where things just kind of fell into place. You felt happy, you felt content, you were really present in the moment. It could be one day that you had on vacation, or it could have been maybe a few months of your life. There are these periods of my life that I keep wanting to recall, that I just sort of, things just flowed for me. It's called Being in the Flow. There's some great books out there about finding your flow. But think about that time or two when you were in the flow and what was different. And I just have to put a plug in, and believe me, I get no kickbacks from Matthew McConaughey. He is, you can think what you want of him as an actor. He's not necessarily one of my favorite actors, but I did read his book, Green Lights. And one thing he talked about, he said, forget journaling when things are going badly. He said, journal when things are going well. He said, really write down the what you're eating, how much you're sleeping, how much exercise you're getting, what you're reading at the time, when your life is going the way that you want it to go. And I thought, wow, that is really powerful to me, because we tend to fall back on our tools when things aren't going well. But what if when things were feeling good, we actually notated it? And I think that would be really interesting. It's also finding something every day. I want to go back to that. Every day you should accomplish something, and every day you need to find a little bit of joy, even if it's really brief, even if it means, you're playing a game of Candy Crush on your phone for 20 minutes. Where do you find your joy is really important.